have, and I'll ask Jennifer first, how does business look like for 2019 so far in your travel segment? And I want to say first off that a year ago you were on this panel, and I said, how come you're the only woman on this panel?
We're all out there. You just got to look.
And I said to you at the time it would be different the next year.
Yeah,
and we made it a bit different.
I have to just say before we get started that the panel last year was awesome, and I have such respect for all of my fellow panelists. We've already had a lot more fun. I'll just say. So at 19, so if some of you had come to the tour operator panel that we did just prior to this, when you looked at our survey as an industry last October, I think there was incredible optimism. 100% of our members said it's going to be a record-breaking year in 2019. And I think we're all still optimistic, but we're facing some headwinds now. And everybody knows this, right? There's the government shutdown, certainly. There is the, I think sometimes inaccurate reporting about the state of California, the state of the West, the state of the national parks, which are actually welcoming tourists and thriving, the state of the rivers in Europe. Particularly, there's this belief that there's no water in any of the rivers, which is not the case at all. And so I think that we're facing some not only headwinds from a image perception, but then you've got the uncertainty that comes with Mother Nature, that comes with the economy, that
happens
with
every year, right?
Whatever's going on politically in the world. So we remain optimistic, and we see great growth, particularly in small ship cruising, in our small group opportunities, and frankly, Europe has come back big time. So we're excited about the year ahead.
Okay, and Christine, same question. I mean, how does it look for Carnival this year? This is we have Christine and Christine. So I thought let's go down the list. We'll do Christine and then Christine.
So for us, as part of Carnival Corporation, we have 9 world-leading cruise brands. And so one of the beauties of the cruise industry is we can move our ships. But I think to your point, we have headwinds every year. So whether it's geopolitical, weather, SARS, Zika, and so I think what's happened that's very positive, and I think back to 2008 and 9/11. We are much more resilient, I think. I
think American travelers are
because I think there was a time where what's going on, what Jennifer just described, would have kept people home, but people don't want to stay home anymore. A vacation anymore is not the same discretionary decision as I think today. People are willing to give up a whole lot of other things before they give up their vacation. Now, for Carnival Cruise Line, which I say we are America's cruise line, the fact that 50% of the U.S. population can drive to a Carnival vacation in 5 hours or less certainly helps us a little bit more with people who are saying what's really going on at the airport and the lines. And so I think for each of us, the circumstances each year may change. I mean, last year we really, probably more than anybody else, with the hurricane season that we had in 2017, 76% of our fleet of 26 ships at that time was impacted. So we certainly felt very different sitting here in January a year ago with the
You were also able
momentum.
to move that fleet.
But we moved around, but we are feeling that there may be pent-up demand for people who last year might have booked their cruise and maybe they didn't. So we're pretty excited and pleased with where things are, and the trade has really been great for us this year. So
wonderful, Jackie. You oversee you work with 3,000 plus agents at Nexion, and you got a pulse of what they're seeing. Where are you seeing 2019 going?
We're really optimistic for 2019 for a couple of reasons. Our parent company, Travel Leaders Group, did a consumer trends survey late in 2018, and over 90% of consumers, of 3,600 consumers that responded to this survey, said that they were definitely going to take one or more trip, and that they were definitely going to spend the same or more money in 2019 travel than they did for 2018. So very, very optimistic there. We're seeing some interesting trends, though. The fact is that more and more of you are wanting a career in travel. Folks love this industry. They want to be travel advisors. And as we see more and more people coming into the industry, it really fuels a lot of growth for the industry. And all of these wonderful products up here need that growth. So very, very optimistic, both from what we're hearing from our consumers and what we're seeing from agents wanting to come or advisors wanting to come into the industry.
And that's a very hopeful sign. It's amazing because I've been in this business now almost 30 years, and to hear travel advisors are on the upswing is a great piece of great news. Kristin, now we'll talk.
Yeah, we just heard it. It's all about the experience. It's not about material things anymore. And everyone really wants to go, and nobody wants to miss out anymore on this experience. At AmaWaterways, I mean, we have the largest growth in our fleet actually for 19. We are building 3 ships, including our double wide AmaMag now with the luxury of more space. So we wouldn't do it if we wouldn't have this positive energy and hope to say every year will be another better year. And that has been in the history of our company the truth. Every year was a better year. I think it's all up to us that we really spread out this positive energy and that we really, really push everyone. And when I see actually this big audience here, I have heard also that 4 out of 5 travel advisors today know and recommend river cruising. And that's unheard of. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that wasn't really known at all.
You didn't even have a company 15 years.
Our company started almost 17 years ago, but you know, it was the beginning stages. And it is still today one of the fastest growing segments in the industry, in the travel industry. And thanks to you, our partners, we are really moving along very, very well. Inventory is filling fast. Charters are coming in nicely, part charters groups. We just talked about all kind of different groups, what can happen, art in Paris, and so on. France is coming back heavily. France was down. We all know why, terrorism. But we always say what is down 2 years later is up. The same with Africa. After Ebola, it was down. It is up. The ships are selling out into 2020. And I think we just have to remind ourselves, as my fellow panelists here said, that we had to fight through so many things, but we got also more experience, how to handle all these ups and downs, and we are very well prepared for the future.
Hey, Lindsay, same question. What does 2019 look for your hotel group and hotels in general?
Well, first, I'm lucky to sit with panelists that all help feed the hotel industry in some way. So I've even though cruising's up, there's hotels on both sides of that generally. So for preferred hotels and resorts, 2019 is starting off well. We're pacing about 12% ahead of last year, which is great for Q1. But to put in perspective, we drove 22% more rooms night revenue at our hotels the previous year. So it's slowing down a little bit, but we still are bullish in terms of where we're headed. And I think, as all of the fellow panelists have said, despite geopolitical concerns and Brexit and all these things that in some ways we can't control, I think what happens is the business shifts somewhere else. So whatever, there's a crisis in Paris, people still travel, they're just traveling somewhere else. So I think in general, the travel industry is in a really healthy place, and people want to escape from the things that they're hearing about and reading about, and that's what travel gives them. It gives them that escape. And so I think regardless of what's going to happen, I think 2019 is going to be a really strong year.